There's a bag of powder sitting on the shelf at Home Depot right now, 3 aisles away from the spackle most people reach for, and it fixes drywall holes that spackle literally cannot fix. Not nail holes, actual holes. The kind your doorknob punched through the sheetrock. The kind your kid made with a chair. The kind spackle fills beautifully for about 6 weeks and then cracks, shrinks, and leaves you looking at the same hole with extra steps. A small amount costs under $2. It sets rock hard in under an hour. It doesn't shrink. It doesn't crack. It's what every drywall pro in the country actually uses, and almost nobody selling you spackle is going to mention it exists. Walk down the drywall aisle at any hardware store and count the spackle products. There's lightweight spackle, vinyl spackle, spackle with a color changing indicator, spackle in squeeze tubes, spackle in tubs the size of your head, spackle that promises it fills holes up to 3 inches across. And here's the thing that'll irritate you once you notice it. None of those products work the way the label implies on anything bigger than a pencil tip. Spackle is gypsum powder mixed with a binder and a whole lot of air. That's why it's light. That's why it spreads like frosting. That's also why it shrinks. Every spackle on that shelf dries by evaporation, the water leaves, the volume drops, and the patch pulls inward. On a nail hole, you don't notice. On anything larger, that shrinkage cracks the repair within weeks, sometimes days. Paint hides it for a little while. Eventually you see the line and you're back where you started. So why is spackle what gets sold to homeowners? The answer isn't a cover-up, it's marketing. Spackle is idiot-proof, it comes pre-mixed, it dries fast enough for weekend projects. One tub lasts years of nail holes, which is the one thing it actually excels at. It's a great product for the wrong job. The right product for the actual job, the one that fills a real hole and stays filled, sits on the same shelf, usually in a paper bag, and doesn't get recommended because it takes 30 seconds longer to explain. That's the whole story. A product that's harder to market to a first-time DIYer getting waved through an aisle. Gypsum is one of the oldest building materials on Earth. The Egyptians used it in the pyramids, the Romans used it in their baths. What makes gypsum special is a chemistry trick that's hard to overstate. When you heat the rock, drive the water out, grind it to powder, and then add water back in, the rock reforms. Actual stone. In your hand. The water chemically binds into the crystal structure, and the whole thing sets like concrete. That's drywall. That's plaster. That's the inside of every wall you've ever touched. The sheetrock itself is gypsum sandwiched between 2 sheets of paper. Now here's the piece almost no homeowner knows. There are 2 completely different categories of drywall compound that both look nearly identical in the container. The first category, the one you've probably bought, is called drying type compound. That's spackle. That's the premixed tub. It dries by evaporation, the way paint dries. Water leaves, it shrinks. The second category is called setting type compound. It doesn't dry, it sets. Chemically, the same way concrete cures, or the way gypsum stone reforms when you rehydrate it. You mix the powder with water, a reaction starts, and in a defined amount of time, 20 minutes, 45 minutes, 90 minutes, depending on which bag you buy, the patch turns into rock. Not dried paste, actual gypsum rock, bonded to the drywall around it. This category of product has been the standard material on professional drywall jobs for decades. If you've ever had a drywall crew come to your house to patch after a renovation, this is what they used. You watched them mix it out of a paper bag, and you probably thought it was the same stuff that comes in the tub. It isn't. It's a different chemical process entirely. And it's the reason their patches never come back. Imagine you're filling a hole with wet sand. It looks perfect when you pack it in. A week later, the sand is settled, dried out, and there's a visible dip. That's spackle. The water between the gypsum particles evaporates out, and the solid that's left behind occupies less space than the original paste. The shrinkage is unavoidable because you can't get around the physics. Wet becomes dry. Volume drops. Now imagine you're filling that same hole with something that doesn't dry, something that chemically consumes the water and locks it into a crystal lattice. The water doesn't leave. It becomes part of the solid. Volume stays the same. The mass you put in is the mass that's there forever. That's the difference between drying and setting. And it's not a small difference. On a small nail hole, you won't notice. On a doorknob hole, 4 inches across, maybe deeper, drying type compound can shrink enough to crack the patch in half as it cures. People repair this by layering. Apply, let shrink, apply again, let shrink, apply again. 3 trips, 3 sanding sessions. And it still moves over time because the underlying gypsum is soft and the bond to the surrounding drywall is mechanical, not chemical. Setting type compound does something different. The reaction that turns the powder into rock doesn't just happen inside the patch. It happens at the boundary with the existing drywall. The gypsum crystals grow into the paper face of the surrounding board. The patch doesn't sit in the hole, it grows into it. When you sand it, flush, and paint over the top, there's no seam underneath. You've essentially built new drywall in the shape of the damage. The hardness is where this gets almost funny. A properly cured setting compound is harder than the drywall around it. You can drive a nail through it. You can mount a fixture into it. It doesn't crumble when you drill. The short setting versions, the 20-minute bag in particular, cure so hard that professional drywall finishers use a different technique entirely because sanding it is genuine work. That's actually why the longer set versions, the 45 and the 90, exist. Not because they work better, because they're softer and easier to finish. Here's the part that tends to land when people hear it for the first time. Setting type compound has been the professional standard on North American drywall jobs for about 50 years. The paper bag in the corner of the drywall aisle, the one with the boring looking label, that's the pro material. It's been sitting there the whole time. It just didn't get the shelf position or the color-changing marketing or the cute tubs because it's aimed at people who already know what it does, which means most homeowners walk past it every single time. Let's name it. The product is called Setting Type Joint Compound. You'll see it sold under a few names, but the two you'll actually encounter are Easy Sand, made by USG, the big drywall manufacturer, and Durabond, also made by USG. They come in paper bags. The number on the bag, 20, 45, 90, is the working time in minutes. Easy Sand 20 gives you 20 minutes to work before it starts to set. Easy Sand 90 gives you 90. Durabond is the same concept, but it dries so hard it's barely sandable. For a home repair, skip the Durabond and grab the Easy Sand 45 or 90. 45 if you're confident. 90 if you want breathing room. A typical bag runs somewhere around $15 to $20 depending on where you live. That bag will fix every hole your family creates for the next 5 years. The amount you use on a single doorknob-sized hole is a few ounces. That's where the $2 per repair number comes from. You're not buying a tub for one job. You're buying a bag that outlives most appliances in your house. Here's how you actually use it. Clear the hole first. If there's loose paper or crumbled gypsum hanging inside the edge, pull it out or cut it clean with a utility knife. You want solid edges. For anything bigger than about 1.5 inches across, you'll want a backer. A scrap of mesh tape or a piece of drywall cut slightly larger than the hole and slid in behind as a support. Self-adhesive, fiberglass mesh tape over the front of a smaller hole works fine. Now the mixing. This is where most first-timers go wrong. You do not mix the whole bag. You mix what you need for the next 15 to 20 minutes of work. Take a small mixing container, a yogurt tub works, and pour in cool water first, then sprinkle in the powder. Stir with a putty knife until it looks like thick pancake batter. Wet enough to spread, not runny. Once the reaction starts, you can't add more water to slow it down. Whatever you mix, you use. Apply it with a putty knife, push it into the hole first, really pack it in, then scrape flush with the surrounding wall. If the hole is deep, fill it in 2 passes. First pass to load the cavity, let it set. Second pass to level the surface. With the 90-minute version, you've got plenty of time for both in one sitting. Quick pro trick that professional drywall finishers use and almost no tutorial mentions, a small splash of white school glue mixed into your water before you add the powder. Elmer's works fine. It slows the set slightly, improves adhesion to the paper face of the drywall, and makes the final surface a little more forgiving to sand. A teaspoon per cup of water is enough. You don't need much. After it sets, sand it flush with a fine grit sanding sponge. It'll feel harder than the drywall around it, which is correct. Wipe the dust off with a damp cloth, prime the patch. This part matters, because unprimed setting compound can flash through paint and show as a dull spot. Any basic drywall primer works. Then paint to match, and you are done. The hole is gone. Not covered. Gone. Replaced with what is functionally new drywall, set in place, bonded at the edges, rock hard, not going anywhere. Total material cost for a serious drywall hole, around $2. Of compound, $1 of mesh tape if you used it, maybe $1 of primer. Under $5 in materials for a repair, a handyman would quote you $150 to do. Think about what just got handed to you. You now know the real difference between drying compound and setting compound, which most homeowners don't. You know what product drywall pros actually use for real repairs. You know how to mix it, how to apply it, and the one glue trick that makes the finish cleaner. You're not guessing anymore. You're not going to stand in the aisle wondering which tub to grab. You walk past the whole Spackle wall, head straight to the paper bags, grab an Easy Sand 90, and you're set for every drywall problem your house is going to throw at you for years. The next time someone you know punches a doorknob through their wall, or has a kid put an elbow through the hallway, and they ask what to do, you already know. It's not a contractor job. It's not a weekend of sanding and repatching. It's a 20-minute fix with a bag of powder that costs less than lunch. This is the category of home knowledge that used to pass down through families. Back when people built and fixed their own houses, a lot of it has slipped out of common memory simply because it stopped being taught. Nobody buried it. It just quietly slid off the shelf most homeowners look at. You happen to find it anyway. If this kind of practical, actually works home repair knowledge is what you're after, stick around. There's a lot more of it, and I'm working my way through the ones that matter most. Subscribe so the next one lands in your feed instead of getting lost. And if you know somebody who's been living with a cracked patch on their wall because Spackle failed them, send this their way. They've been fighting a product that was never going to work for their problem, and they deserve to know there's a better answer sitting 3 feet away on the same shelf. Drop a comment if there's a specific repair you want covered next. The best suggestions tend to become the next video,